Another Jeep Group wheeling adventure. On today's trek, we join the Grand Mesa Jeep Club for a run through Rabbit Valley. Rabbit Valley is a recreation area situated on the Colorado-Utah border. It's just outside of Grand Junction, Colorado. The trail began just off Highway 50, and we were jinxed a bit by our trail leader, who said, "I think some people were turned off by the possibility of mud today. It shouldn't be too bad." We only took the maroon Jeep because I got a new toy, a phone gimbal, and I wanted to test it out and see how it worked. For that, I had my wife drive, and it was funny to watch her giggle maniacally as she plowed her way through the mud. We were barely 15 minutes into the trail, and my Jeep was already coated in mud. But, as my wife said, that's why you buy a Jeep, right? She wasn't wrong, but something told me the cleanup wasn't going to be much fun. The trail starts off rolling over relatively flat desert terrain, and then you start going in and out of a ravine that had steep descents and ascents on either side of it. After that, the trail quickly climbs up along a rutted section. In 2018, our region experienced a severe drought year, and we barely had any moisture. It was so bad that we were able to complete much of the Alpine Loop up in the San Juan Mountains in May. In a typical year, you can't get through there until late June, early July at the earliest. On the flip side, 2019 has been a banner year for moisture, and it's really helping out our drought conditions. But the desert can only hold so much water, and eventually that water will pool, making fun, albeit messy, mud bogs. As a club, we're very conscious of the privilege we have to travel these amazing trails, so we always do our best to stay the trail and limit any damage we may cause. This is also called the Cabin Fever Run because everyone is anxious to get outside again after winter finally started to loosen its grip. We had around 20 vehicles on this trip, some that were mostly stock, others that were heavily modified. When dry, the trail is technically not difficult, but the mud totally changed the feeling of the trail. Here you can see some of the long sections of mud bogs that we sloshed our way through. Then, over the CB we heard, "I'm buried," so I jumped out to investigate what was happening. Yeah, that's buried all right. This area was extremely saturated, so the mud pit had a very soft bottom. A quick snatch strap pull and he was free. Another Jeep attempted a lower path where there was no standing water, and he quickly sunk up to his axles in mud. I was the next Jeep in line that had a winch on it, so I rolled up to give him a pull out, but they decided to pull him forward off the trail. There was still a long line of Jeeps that needed to make its way through this mud pit. There was only one more path that we could attempt, straight through the upper line. Time to have some fun. Okay, back on dry ground. Okay, drier ground. Yeah, okay, never mind. and to take a few minutes to socialize with each other. Then we all jumped back in our vehicles and set out on the trail again. The guy in front of us forgot that he left his Gatorade on his rear bumper. And there, finally gave up the fight. Then, out of the blue, I spot something hanging down under the Suburban. It was one of his shocks. We worked to flag him down, assessed what had happened to his vehicle, and found some tools to get the shock pulled off of it. Nothing had broke, it was just the nut holding the top shock mount in place had worked itself loose and fell off. This was a fun downhill descent. It led into an area with some eroded portions of the trail that really tested out your articulation. It was about time for a lunch break, and we could see the group leader stopped up ahead at a small shack in the distance. As we rolled along, my wife was aiming for nearly every puddle she could find, and then she found the deepest one on the trail. We headed back the way we came, and that meant climbing up the downhill section we came from earlier. probably my favorite part of the trail. It was very narrow in spots along this section, and there was also the mine screw of the cliffs being on the right. With careful tire placement, everyone made it through without any issues. Quick stop for a breathtaking overlook with the Colorado River in the background. This was probably the most challenging obstacle on the whole trip. It's a set of steps, one right after the other, with a slight undercut that requires a bump to make it up and over. I tried to crawl up the obstacle, but got hung up on the second ledge. A quick reverse followed by the skinny pedal is all I needed. good breakover angle on this obstacle was helpful too. Shorter wheelbase vehicles seemed to do just fine, but the longer ones were getting hung up a bit. Nothing a little track building didn't help.
Just had to get.
Here's a quick walk around of the Jeep after the mud run. On our way home, we stopped at the local tractor supply store and scored a sweet deal on a pressure washer. Boy, was it needed. Here's the before.
2 hours later.
And after. As always, thanks for watching Jeep Groove. Please remember to subscribe as it helps us on our way to becoming an official channel. More fun videos to come. See you on the trail.